In everyday life, most people act in good faith, and in order to grow and make progress, we need to learn to trust others. We don't want to end up becoming suspicious of everything and everyone, and those who do usually have a pretty miserable existence. Having said that though, there are a lot of mischievous people out there that we will all have the misfortune to run into sooner or later. When this happens, it's important to be able to identify when someone is trying to manipulate us, not only by recognizing the more obvious and basic manipulation techniques, but also the slightly more hidden ones that we'll look at in this video. If you've been tricked by a manipulator in your life before, you already know how much it can hurt to realize that you've been used. Therefore, it's important to recognize the signs of manipulation before you become a prey. Let's now see how these wicked masterminds use psychological and emotional tactics to get what they want at your expense. 1. They obtain information to use it against you. One of the virtues of manipulators is that they are good listeners. Often a person with bad intentions will listen carefully to what you have to say, not because he or she is genuinely interested in you, but rather to understand your way of thinking, your strengths and weaknesses, and then be able to use them against you to gain an advantage. After all, there is a reason why in politics, empathy is a much more powerful weapon than analytical and rational reasoning based on data and facts. People who follow their emotions rather than thinking logically are much easier to manipulate. 2. They talk loudly. At first glance we might think that talking loudly is simple rudeness, but it can actually also be a way to manipulate others. This tactic is not particularly complex, it is just another power play. Many people think that speaking loudly makes their opinions fairer, and they believe that this way they will be able to strengthen their argument by not giving you an easy way to retort. Their goal is to intimidate you. Just watch any talk show or debate on TV and you will find numerous examples. 3. They overwhelm you with information. Another tactic manipulators use is to overwhelm you with information, but without saying anything really tangible. For example, they use famous quotes in a conversation in order to impress you, trying to elevate themselves and gain your respect. This is also called intellectual bullying. If you want to sound like an intellectual, you just need to learn a dozen catchphrases, and you're done, you're ready to impress those who look little at substance. This kind of manipulation can often occur in the workplace during sales negotiations, for example, but it can also occur in social or relational discussions. With this tactic, the manipulator has the goal of winning the negotiation. Other times this tactic is also used just to elevate one's ego and make oneself look more important or intelligent than who he actually is. 4. They distort facts to their advantage. Throughout my career I have always preferred emails to phone communication in the workplace. While the broad preference for most people is voice communication, after all, the best way to look busy at work is to set up a meeting whenever you are bored. There are mainly 2 reasons why I prefer communicating via email. The first, which is also the main one, is that everything that is written is documented, and this decreases the risk of information going missing or being forgotten after a meeting. Also, if new people are added to the conversation, there is no need to explain everything over and over again. That's the main reason, but there's also a second reason, known as CYA, which stands for cover your ass. What's written cannot be taken back and does not leave room for ambiguous situations. One of the key skills of manipulative people is to distort reality, often manipulating the spoken words to their advantage. This is honestly one of the things that gets to me the most, especially when I'm saddled with words that were never said or got misinterpreted. If you have a particularly sensitive meeting at work, my advice is to always send out a brief summary of what was discussed as soon as the meeting is finished, to avoid any kind of misunderstanding. Obviously this is not a requirement for most meetings, but in the most critical ones it's always better to somehow protect yourself. It is also handy to be able to quickly review what has been discussed at later stage. 5. They behave like they are better than you. Manipulators often deny love, affection or attention as a form of control, deliberately ignoring your attempts at communication, whether it be calls, texts, emails or otherwise. They maintain power by making you wait and creating doubt and uncertainty in your psyche. These strategies are perhaps more common among younger people. For example, not immediately responding to a message from someone we like to leave them anxious in their 20s is commonly more acceptable than doing so in our 50s, where we are hopefully more mature, and we are also hopefully dealing with more mature people. 6. They play the victim. Whenever you point out to a manipulator that he has done something wrong, perhaps in a situation where you are actually the real victim of their selfish acts, often the manipulator will blame you. Manipulators are masters of getting defensive and blaming others for their actions. Beware of those who constantly play the victim. These kinds of people are professional manipulators. 7. They give ultimatums. There are cases when giving ultimatums can be a way to manipulate other people. This is true especially when that ultimatum can influence your decision. Think of the sales offers you find in stores or even online, for example, things like offer valid for a limited number of customers only or buy one, get one free. While personally I don't find this kind of manipulation unethical, there are however cases when giving ultimatums can really hurt a person. Think of a young couple starting to date, for example, in which the guy puts pressure on the girl to sleep with him by giving her an ultimatum, even though he knows she doesn't feel ready. Maybe she's very much in love with him and lets him convince her even though she does not want to. In this case, the effects that an ultimatum has can cause serious consequences for the girl. Obviously, there are situations in which ultimatums are acceptable. For example, if a client tells you this project must be completed within 6 months and pays you to do it, clearly this is not blackmail but simple business. In any case, always be careful what kind of ultimatums you are dealing with. 8. They make fun of you. Manipulators love power and get it from your insecurities. Sometimes manipulators will make unfair critical remarks to put you down and make you feel inferior. They will claim it is humor or sarcasm, and when called out on it they will often turn the tables on you with a comment such as "you can't take a joke." Be careful and try to figure out if a joke is made in good faith or with malicious intent. The idea that there is something inherently wrong with you will make you think that no matter what you do, you will always be inadequate. When a manipulator makes you think you are not good enough, he is addressing yourself as a person and not the specific problem. He focuses on the negative aspects without giving you constructive criticism on how you could improve. 9. They are your friends only when it is convenient for them. Some friends are always there for you, and others are there only when it is convenient for them. If you know someone who contacts you or acts friendly only when they need or want something, be careful. Manipulators try to enter your life not because they want to be your friend, but because they want to use you. Manipulative people are selfish, do not really care about you, and will choose their needs over yours every day. In conclusion, the best thing you can do to protect yourself from manipulators is to possibly keep away from them, to know your rights and limits, and to pay attention to what they say and how they say it in conversations. Now tell me, which of these 9 points do you find has been used most often against you by a manipulative friend or acquaintance, and how is your relationship with them today? If you would like to, leave a comment. If you like this video, I recommend the video titled 10 Kinds of People You Should Never Trust, which you can find on this channel. Thank you for watching, and be sure to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell if you have not already done so. Have a great day.